The Strategic Hotbox with Dr. Brandi Stankovic. Discussing leadership, business, and how to take control of your life and achieve greatness. From the streets of Las Vegas, energized, informed, and never diluted. It's time to kick some ass.
Hey, welcome to the Strategic Hotbox. It's your girl, Dr. Brandi Stankovic. Excited to be here with you today. Today's episode is going to be about misunderstanding Muslims. And I have my good friend here with us live from the United Kingdom, Ruksana Kauser. And she's going to talk to us a little bit about what this all means. And as you know, here on the Hotbox, we learn, we love, and we kick some ass. And throughout our time on the Hotbox, we've dug into so many different topics. We've talked about diversity and inclusion. We've talked about equity. We've talked about how this plays out in leadership. And 2020 has brought urgency to the importance of addressing a lot of these challenges. And so this topic allows us to continue to build on these efforts and continue to build on these learnings. Now, when I started my research, when I started this topic, I thought I need to go to the top. I need to start at the beginning and get some really basic understanding. So for those of you that already know some of this information, please just bear with me. And for those of you that might have been in the same boat as me and needed a little bit more of the basics or some understanding 101, then here you go. But Muslims are people who follow the practice of Islam. And Islam is a religion in the basic sense, and it's an Abrahamic religion, which is a descent of Judaism, and it's monotheistic. So that means that it's a belief in one God. So Muslims are people that follow the practice of the religion of Islam. Okay, so that is my understanding anyway, and we'll certainly get a clarification from Ruksana when she comes on as our subject matter expert. Now, there are many misunderstandings in the perceptions of Islam, the faith that Muslims practice. Now, we have a quote, or in some of that research, Glenn Brock, the senior director of DocuSign, shares that a key component of the faith that's emphasized in the Quran is about the importance of taking care of those in need. And he believes that there's a beautiful side of Islam that's often lost due to the political climate and the areas that the media focuses on. And just like any naive judgment that people have or ignorance that we might have, that when people don't know, they assume. And I, in doing some quick Google searching, before our podcast today, there are 1.8 billion people on the planet. That's like 24% of the population of the planet that are practicing Islam. So this isn't just a few individuals. This is about a quarter of the population. And so how is it that all of us can better understand, better support, better get to know our friends, our families, our neighbors, and be able to love one another even more? So as we create a more inclusive and equitable environment in our workplaces, in our backyards, then let's get to know our Muslim colleagues as well. And we have an incredible guest with us today who has shown many aspects of her faith and how she works within that faith. And I'd like to formally introduce you now to our guests. We have Ruksana Kauser with us today. And like I said, coming at us today from the United Kingdom. So thank you very much. She is a member service advisor at Calderdale Credit Union. She is a CU Futures and been recognized as a rock star in her field. She's a member of the YCUP, the World Young Credit Union Professionals. She's also part of the association's Young Professional Network. And she's a wife and proud mom of two amazing kids and a beautiful advocate and leader who loves to share about being Muslim and what that means. So hello to Ruksana. How are you?
Hi. I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Oh, don't be nervous here. It's just me and you chatting, and I feel like it's been forever ago now, but I was just with you before all, heck broke loose on the planet this year.
Yeah, it was an amazing week, and I can't forget it. It was just such a good learning experience for somebody like me, venturing out, meeting new people. It was amazing before coronavirus hit.
Mm-hmm. And for anybody that's watching or listening to us, Ruksana and I have a difference in height, right? So we're maybe a foot apart in height or something. And so we ran for the tube a few times together, and we were late for trains and things. And Roxana's a champ, man. She was picking it up and running alongside, and we made a few trains together nonetheless, right? We did it.
We did it, and I am so glad that I've been working from home because I've not worked that much in a very long time.
I hear you.
It's happy to be working from the sofa.
I tell you. So first, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about you and what inspired you to be the leader that you are today.
So you said it in a nutshell. I am a proud mother of 2 beautiful children and a wife. And I work as a member service advisor, so a young professional within the credit union movement. Really proud to be working and looking after 2 young children in the current climate that we're in. It's so hard to be able to do that. And what inspired me, I'm not going to lie, I don't want to say, I had a dream and I was inspired by something that I saw. I was actually inspired by the See Your Futures program and seeing how other people really wanted young people to achieve. And that was the point that I thought, we've got so much riding on young professionals within the credit union movement. And if an experienced CEO or a manager or just somebody, a volunteer, is saying that we want young people, then why can't I do it? Why can't I push myself and thrive to become a future leader? And that's how I got into leadership. But I'm a really good mother, and I like to kick ass, as you call it, and lead personally as well, just being the leader at home. So just various different things, but definitely that See Your Futures program has changed my life for the better.
Well, I think it's amazing that there was a program that was there in the industry in which you work that created that path or allowed for that inspiration to be there to have your leadership bloom in that way. And how has your faith impacted your leadership?
It hasn't. I have to say, when I started working at the credit union, it was just going into the office, doing a 9-5 job, coming home, looking after 2 children. And when I did the See Your Futures program, I was worried about what people would think of me traveling or what society will think. And then I have I never say this, and he better be proud when I say, yeah, I've got such a supporting husband. Who said that don't let that get in the way. Don't let anything get in the way of you wanting to achieve what you want to achieve. And I got married young. I got married at the age of 17. I don't regret it at all. I've got 2 lovely children, managed to get on the property ladder, which I feel that some people can't do that, and that's fine. But culturally, it was the right thing to do. Religiously, it was the right thing to do, getting married, and I've done that. And I said to my husband, I've done everything that I needed to do. We've got 2 beautiful children, and now it's my time to be able to go out and do everything within my faith. I've never compromised on my religion when I've gone out. You met me in London, and you would have noticed that I didn't shake any hands, and that was such a big deal for me to say, I'm sorry, because of my religious reasons, I can't shake your hand, and little things like that. But it's never stopped me. If anything, it's thrived. It's pushed me more to be able to go out, because I know that I've got the core values and the religious, I don't know, maybe a sense of security to think that, well, I've got a husband that supports me, and he wouldn't, he says, go out and do what you want to do. Why should I let my religion stop me from doing something when I can do it?
Right. And please forgive me if it's naive or if it's just a lack of awareness on my part, but you mentioned fulfilling some of the standards of religion and faith and culture, and that being starting your family and getting married. Is it common amongst people within your culture and religion to get married at a young age and start families at a young age?
Not generally. Some people, we have a family member that won't get married. You know, she hasn't got married yet, and she's well into her 30s. I got married at a young age, but my younger sister got married when she was in her mid-20s. So it varies, and I think my parents were. I think we have the misconception when it comes to religious and misunderstanding Muslims is that young girls are married very quickly and they've got to start a family and they've got to, cook and clean. And there's so many things that get misinterpreted. And please don't apologize for asking it, because until somebody doesn't ask, you wouldn't know. I got married at 17 because my parents said, there's somebody that we would love for you to meet and get married. And I was talking to him for 2 years before I got married, and we've been married for 14 years. Having young children while I was younger, it benefited me because now I can go out and do what I want to do. They're growing with me. But there are some people, rightly so, that haven't got married for whatever reason into their 30s, 40s, and that's absolutely fine. And I think we, as a society, we forget to differentiate between what our culture is and what our religion is. And I think it's so important that anybody that's got questions to ask us, say, is this a religious thing you're doing, or is it because of your culture? Because I know I got asked those questions, and it was so easy to answer. And once I've answered those questions, that misconception has gone.
And so what is then, where does the difference lie? And from a big picture standpoint, religion is a part of culture of a people, right? It's one of the many factors that falls into a culture. And then I'd imagine there's subcultures within shared religion that many people may practice. Where does that difference lie for you?
For me, culture can be misinterpreted. So culturally, we're from Pakistan. My parents are from Pakistan, my grandparents, and where we go wrong is that we sometimes put too much emphasis on what you see. So if you see somebody I'm wearing a maxi dress today, and somebody sat next to me might be wearing salwar kameez, which is the traditional Asian outfits that we would wear in Pakistan. Little things like that, it's so important to be able to differentiate for me, because I know for me, for example, when I was growing up, I was told that, we were able to wear what we wanted to wear until we were old enough. And then my parents said, can you please, would you be willing to wear salwar kameez, for example? And it was just a natural progression. We didn't think anything of it. Islamically, it's really simple, and it's such an easy faith to follow. If you really break it down, it's so simple. A woman should be covered from head to toe. That's it. It's some people say, well, I'll wear tight leggings, or I'll wear, a nice top, and that's fine. If you said if you believe that's your belief, that's absolutely fine. For me, I'm covered from head to toe. It doesn't mean that, if I went into Saudi Arabia, for example, I'd be looked down upon. But if I went to Pakistan, they'd be like, oh, she's not wearing salwar kameez, because that's the culture there. That's what you would wear.
Yeah. And so thank you for sharing that. And I imagine there is different interpretations of different families and the strength of the adherence to some of those rules, or even the interpretation of the rules or etiquette in regard to that. Do you ever feel misunderstood by people that practice a different religion or practice it or part of a different culture?
Do you know, it's I did feel misunderstood when I was younger. So going back maybe 5, even 6 years ago, I say younger, slightly younger. I was I don't think I was misunderstood in the sense that it was to do with me personally. I think it was more the sense that there was no integration between certain cultures and certain religions. So I went to a multicultural school. Some people didn't. I remember at a certain workplace where I was working, I'd only been there a week, and bless this lady, she came up behind me and she said a naughty word, and she came up to me and apologized straight away, and I said, you don't need to apologize. And I turned around and said, I so and so swear as well. I said, I'm British. I do know the languages. You don't need to apologize. Why have you apologized to me? She said, oh, it's because you wear a headscarf. And that it made me sad. It made me really sad to think that somebody has apologized to me because of a headscarf. I was just misunderstood because of a piece of cloth on my head. And I wish that as a society we move away from it and we are more integrated, because my mum came into this country 35 years ago and she was misunderstood. She got told she needed to integrate into society, but when I meet people from other faiths and other religions, other backgrounds, I realised that I've integrated, my mum's integrated into society, so how come you haven't integrated with us? And it's sad that I'm having to ask these questions after 35 years of my mum trying really hard, and bless her, she's brought 5 of us up. She's done an amazing job. She's got, she's been working. She really has inspired me to be who I am today. And I hope that when my daughter is my age, she's not misunderstood the way I was only 5 years ago. It's not been a long time. Just 5 years of being misunderstood.
Yeah. And it's amazing to me in different cultures, and it happens a lot in the United States as well. And you hear about different generations when families have immigrated to the United States, that they were asked to assimilate or integrate more assertively, and some different generations didn't even speak their native languages any longer, or pass that along to the different generations, or some refuse to speak English in different ways. Different families have dealt with it in different ways, and it's such a struggle. And I agree with you. I wish we would just allow people to live their culture while being in it together, and to just learn about one another together.
And I think the religion is something that you take with you. I hold my faith very close to my heart, and everything that I do, from waking up in the morning to how I raise my children, to how I go to work, how I communicate with other professionals within the credit union movement, I have that core. But as a culture, it's so important that we instill it into our children, regardless of where you're from. I want my children to know where they come from. I want them to know that just because we live in the United Kingdom, this is our culture, and I want them to take that forward. And the worst thing for me as a parent would be, for generations to come, for that culture to be lost, because we shouldn't have to lose what's important to us. We shouldn't have to adjust to such a way into society where we're not regarded, or our culture is not thought about. We should be able to have the best of both. I should be able to have a fish and chips and an ice cream, on a Sunday evening and an afternoon, but then also be able to cook a curry. It's so important that we instill those, just not instill, even if my children didn't want to have fish and chips and they wanted to have curry and rice every day, that's absolutely fine. But then I would want other people to understand that's just the culture. That's all it is. It's not my child's faith, or it's not my faith. I can eat whatever I want as long as it's halal. But just little things like that. Just keep what's true to you. Just keep hold of that value and take it forward.
Yeah. And you mentioned about shaking hands, and that is a very Western culture, gesture of sorts. Do you ever find that people impose or try to force their their gestures, beliefs onto you, or question some of the beliefs that you have?
No, I feel so lucky to be living. We live in Halifax, it's a small town, and I have never come across anyone that has forced me to do anything. I will, if somebody came up to me, I remember meeting Zach actually in London for the first time. And the first thing I said to him was, I'm really sorry, I can't shake your hand. And for religious reasons. And I said that was the first thing I said to him, I think. And after that, he was fine with it. He didn't say, well, no, you have to shake my hand. I've never come across anyone that's ever imposed their religion or their culture and say, well, no, we shake hands, so you have to shake your hand. I would refuse. I would walk away. I'd say, no, my religion is my religion, and if you can't accept me for that, then why should I be in your company? But I'm so blessed. I am so blessed to be able to move around the UK so far without having anything imposed on me, or I'm going to say to not be made feel bad, but I have had experiences recently since Corona. It's been, we've had 2 instances where it's been horrible, but generally speaking, no, we're very lucky indeed.
Are you comfortable or in a place where you could tell us a little bit about those stories? And don't worry if not.
Of course, I love sharing this story. So, Corona happened, as you're aware, and we went to the local supermarket after 4 weeks. I took my mum out. No, actually, I'd gone after 4 weeks. My mum she left the house after 8 weeks because she was petrified. And I was with my sister-in-law and my mum, and we stood in the car park because there was a queuing system. And this, please let me know if you're offended, but old white man came charging up towards us, and we would have been in, a queue of about 50 people in the car park, in public, and he started shouting Arabic at us. And for a minute, I got really scared. I thought, oh my God, he's about to smack me. And he was walking straight up to our face, about this close, and then he burst into laughter. I thought, wow, you've not been out for a little while and this is what you've turned into. And part of me really wanted to turn around and say, no, that's not right. But he laughed in our face, went to the young couple behind us and said, they don't know what I've said, but I've just read the Quran out to them. And I thought, but if I shouted the Bible at you, I would have probably been tackled to the floor. We would have been arrested. I would have been put into prison for it or something. And I was gobsmacked at how living in 2020, somebody thinks it's okay to shout something. It's just Islamophobia. And first, I was shaking. I was scared. I was actually scared. And my poor mom, she said, can we go up? Get back in the car, we need to go home. And I said, no, Mom, we're
After
going to
8
stand
weeks,
here.
she finally goes to the grocery store, and then something like this happens. My gosh.
And she said, oh, don't argue back. And I was very close to turning around and saying, no, I am going to argue back, Mom, because it's not fair. Why should we have to endure something like this? It's completely uncalled for. And I'm never going to see that man again. He was very proud of himself. I held my head high. We carried on shopping, and it was absolutely fine. Misunderstood because of the way we're dressed. We have to wear face masks now, and this is the second incident again at another supermarket. My mum and I were looking at cardigans, and I said to my mum, she suffers from asthma. So I said, look, move your face covering down a little bit. There's nobody around. Breathe, and then you can put it back on. And again, a couple walked past and the lady shouted, no masks, no masks. And I thought, do you know, like in America at the minute, you've got the Karens. She was a Karen. That's the best way to describe her. She was a complete Karen. She literally shouted. She was no masks, and I thought, oh my God, it's a mask, please. And I turned around and said, just shut up, just calm down, because my face was covered. And I thought, how do you know what somebody's going through? Why would you do that? We started the grocery shop, and I said, Mum, look, you got worried for no reason. Nobody's wearing a mask. Nobody's wearing one. You've got your face covered. You took it down for literally 30 seconds.
Right.
And you were abused. And I think they thought that we wouldn't react, to Muslim women, or maybe not even because we were Muslim, just because we were Asian, a different colour. Let's just shout abuse at. And she walked away and they were laughing. And I thought, wow, I would never do that to somebody. I would never shout no mask. I would never shout, verses from the Bible, even if I knew it. It's just uncalled for. And it's sad. It's sad that we're living in 2020, the Black Lives movement, the Black Lives Matter movement that's been going on in the USA. It's so sad that people are still subject to that kind of abuse. It's sad that Muslims are being tainted all with the same brush because of actions of a few. But I hope that even one person who's misunderstood a Muslim watches this and changes their mind and just says hello and just says, yeah, do you know what? They're all right, actually. They're not that bad.
I hope so too. And I think that if anything, you're the perfect individual to create that openness and create that conversation. And I do know that there's opportunity to continue the conversation and continue to learn. And one of the things that spawned our having this conversation on the podcast is we were chatting about, is it okay to ask questions? And is it okay to be curious? Because if we haven't, as humans, been exposed to another culture, whether it's a Muslim culture, whether it's any sort of a group that's different than us, whatever the human is that's in that frame, then ask, then be there to be curious, because the more that we know, the more that we can offer the support and love that we should. So speaking of that, what can we do what can people do to support or respect those within the Muslim faith?
Just talk to us. Just talk. Just treat us as you would your friend or your neighbour next door. We're very polite. We cook a really good curry. We feed you loads. No, and more than that, we are peaceful. We're Muslim. The faith is a peaceful. Islam is just peace. That's all it means. And it's so sad that I don't get asked any questions, and I thrive when I'm asked something, because I feel like if I can help you understand why I wear the headscarf, for example, or why my husband is with me when I'm on an overnight stay, or why he was in London for a week with me, then that's helping somebody else understand. And likewise, if I've got a question, I want to be able to just put it on Facebook and ask a question without feeling like I should know the answer, because nobody's born with the knowledge, are there? Nobody is born with the knowledge of every faith. It's not happened. It's never going to happen. But just ask us a question. If you see us, smile, because we are smiling under the face coverings. We are smiling under the face masks. It's really simple. But for me personally, just email me, message me, just ask any Muslim that you see. We're all the same. Humanity is a race as well, and we're all the same.
Yeah. Can you share a funny story to kind of close this out? You shared a couple of kind of hard, difficult, challenge stories. Do you have a funny story to share?
I was thinking about this all day yesterday and all day today as well, and I wanted to share how I got into the credit union movement, because I will be a leader one day, that's for sure. I won't let that pass by. But you probably will laugh, but when somebody asks me, I always say I forced my way into the credit union. I was stood outside with my children who wanted sweets from a shop, and I was waiting for my husband to give me some cash because I wasn't working at the time, and 2 toddlers. It was a nightmare. And I thought, I need to get away. And when you just feel a little bit like I should just look for a job, because otherwise I'm going to go mad with two children under the age of 2. And I walked straight into the credit union. The office had only just been opened there, and prominent place in Halifax. So I walked in and I said, have you got any jobs? And they said, well, yeah, you could send your CV through. And I remember just pestering, ringing up every other day. I'm like, I know they need somebody, but will they employ me? Like literally ringing every day. So have you got a job available? Can I come for an interview? Can I come for just voluntary work? I'll come for a few hours and I'll go. But I always say I forced my way into the credit union and I'm not leaving. The Young Professionals Network Committee is amazing as well. And I think every time I think, right, okay, I need to maybe step away and do something, just maybe look after the children for a little while and give them some more time before they grow up and they don't want to know me anymore. But then we'll get a message for the Young Professionals Network Committee, or, the Global Youth Summit came about. And I thought, well, no, there's too many interesting things going on within the credit union movement at the moment. And I don't want to stop. I don't want to leave that. So yeah, I'm sticking by. And that's my funny story. That's how I started in the credit union.
I love it. And I love the perseverance and the grit and all that. Push your way in there, girl. I think that's exactly how you should do it. So bold action item takeaway, is it to ask questions?
It is to ask questions, and more so, I think, for me personally, on a personal note, I get very nervous. So something like this, I would never have thought that it would happen. An opportunity comes about, but I tend to see an opportunity and then talk myself out of it. That's my bold action I'm going to take away, is to kick ass and just say, well, do you know what? Yeah, I am good enough. I am going to do something. And one day I will become a leader.
Awesome. Yes, you will. And we will be here watching you and your amazingness every step of the way. Thank you so much for being part of the podcast today. We appreciate you and you sharing your story with us. Thank you, Ruksana. Hope to see you soon. Thank you. Let's head out to the shout out.
Hi, it's Luke. I'm the over here. I'm from First Class Credit Union. I'm here on the London Eye, and you're listening to Brandi on the Hot Box.
Thank you to Ruksana, and thank you to Luke from Scotland for giving us that shout out. And maybe you didn't understand a word that he said, because you gotta love that Scottish language, Scottish English. But thank you very much, Luke, for sending us a shout out. And thank you again to Ruksana. As we learn to be a better ally, here are top three kick-ass on learning how to be a better ally when it comes to misunderstanding Muslims. First is ask questions. Ruksana said it. We talked about it quite a bit. If you don't know, then let's ask. Number two is to think outside of the culture, of our own culture. Again, we'd be better to not misunderstand and to understand and learn and grow and ask more questions. And number three is to love your neighbor and to choose love. That's your top three kick-ass. Thank you again to Ruksana for sharing her heart with us today, and to Luke for the shout out. We appreciate talking about such important topics like this one and being with all of you here at the Hot Box. And of course, hit us up, strategichotbox.com or Facebook, Twitter, you know where to find us. Until I see you again, get out there and kick some ass.